What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be reacting to the 2024 F1 season in 19 minutes. I feel like I've only done like one video from this channel, but that being said, I did enjoy that video. And they've done a recap of the 2024 season. I feel like this is going to be very chaotic because so many things went on this season, on and off track. So I'm looking forward to getting into it as one of you have requested it. So I'm just going to shut up and we'll get straight into it.
The 2024 Formula One season, a year that has provided us with so much entertainment than we expected.
Well, yeah, compared to last season.
Battles, races so chaotic that half of the time
yeah,
you don't know what the fuck is going on.
What the fuck happened? What happened?
Fair.
What happened?
Me every single race.
Left us with tears of relief and joy. But also pain, depending on who you really support.
Yeah.
In my case, I'm unfortunately over here. But regardless, this year has been insane. That the best word I can think of to describe F1 in 2024 is random. Because we could have the most predictable, boring race one time, but then have World War III about a week later. And I'm about to recap all of these races.
Can't disagree.
That's right, guys. 50 hours worth of cars going in circles condensed into a couple of minutes.
Okay, here we go.
I'm going to blow my brains out. But anyways, let's begin, and there's no other place to start than in Bahrain. Now, before the season started, people were pretty much expecting 2023 all over again. As
Max Verstappen
we're so worried.
Max Verstappen wins. Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Max Verstappen victory.
And as the season started,
that one Carlos Sainz makes me laugh.
Won by 22 seconds from his own teammates.
Yeah, after Bahrain, I thought, here we go again.
Though at least we got some solid entertainment from Oliver Behrman.
Yeah, I did enjoy that.
Carlos Sainz since the man got appendicitis, where he still decided to show up to the race weekend.
Yes, that was insane. Why did he do that?
By Charles last night. But Behrman finished the race ahead of Lewis Hamilton and scored more points in Saudi Arabia than Sauber did their entire season.
Yeah, that is nuts.
Max was on his way to win again until his brakes blew up. So Carlos took the win, but before he crossed the line, on the final lap, George Russell crashed his car and had the calmest reaction to being told that Lance Stroll was behind him.
Red flag, you got Stroll.
Yeah.
Red.
But off to Japan, Max won by another 12.
I honestly think Australia was my favorite race.
Lando Norris bottled his car
give it the
so hard at the sprint. Expect more of that later. Meanwhile, Lance Stroll rammed into Daniel Ricciardo because he was apparently looking somewhere else, and Max won the race by 12 seconds again.
Yeah.
While Fernando Alonso, despite qualifying P3 in the race, dropped all the way to 7th. I just knew that this was going to be a long year for Alonso fans. But as I've said, as Max won the majority of races at the start of the season, everyone was expecting the same shit as 2023. But that
it was terrifying.
The turning point of the season, Miami, Florida, where in the
this
race,
is probably like my
definitely
in my top 3 races
got a perfectly
of the season.
Safety car in his favor, allowing him to take the lead, and he was able to maintain it with the pace of his McLaren and win his first ever Grand Prix.
Woo!
Now, everyone thought that this was just a fluke by McLaren, but as F1 went to Imola, which was thankfully not underwater this year.
No, if Lando had like 1 or 2 laps extra at the end, he would have got the win.
7/10 behind him. Actually,
it was so close.
Red Bull looked beatable. And as F1 went to its next race, being Monaco, Red Bull was finally beaten in raw pace.
Yeah.
However, not by McLaren.
By Ferrari! I'm so glad he broke the curse.
To achieve his dream. Finally.
Oh, I literally, if you find the clips of me on stream watching this race, I was just crying.
Pure emotion for Charles Leclerc.
Ferrari completely outclassed the competition in Monaco, qualifying 1st and 3rd.
Yeah.
And after Max made a mistake in quali, Sergio Perez failing to get out of Q1 and had his car turn into an escape pod after
that
the
was
first corner.
Look at that damage.
Cruised through the entire race and won his home Grand Prix with ease. It was
Nuts.
kind of a boring race, though, thanks to
Yeah,
the
it
cars
was.
being bigger than Sergio Perez's booty cheeks. But apparently, after this glorious win by Ferrari in Monaco, not even a week later, in the Canadian Grand Prix, they got a double DNF.
Oh, yeah.
After Carlos crashed into his future teammate, and Charles had car problems and was on hard tires while it was raining.
And I've decided
Ferrari
that
strategy.
I want to die.
Yeah,
I'm
me.
so glad you've made that decision.
I swear, it's almost like the universe is always finding a way to balance the world whenever Ferrari does something. Like, the team can't have shit without a sacrifice. If they want to win a championship, it's like they need to sacrifice fucking Leo. And meanwhile, Perez in the Canadian Grand Prix just had to crash thanks to, I don't fucking know, the wind. But after Ferrari's joys and pains, we are now off to Spain. This was the
Spain.
race people
Max
said
won that as well.
for sure started having the faster car compared to Red Bull. But despite Lando proving that by taking pole position, he fumbled his start
Stop.
again, which
Don't remind
allowed
me.
Max to win the race by just 2 seconds. And after Spain was Austria. Now this was one of the boiling points of Max
I
and Lando's run.
can't relive
Coming
this
into the
again.
weekend, Lando was only
Please don't show
59
me.
points behind Max in the championship.
Nice.
And so he has to make this race count. And Lando did try his best. However, Max Verstappen, being Max Verstappen, qualified on pole, didn't fumble the start, kept the lead of the race, and was set to win. But this time, Lando had more pace in his McLaren, and after Max had a slow stop, the two came out of the pit lane into
Stop.
the
I'm just gonna sit like this.
and as they battled for track position,
It's
they
like watching
eventually
Abu Dhabi
made out.
2021.
Oh, they make contact. He's got a puncture. He's damaged his front wing. The leading contenders for the World Championship.
So as a result, George Fumble won that race out of bumfuck nowhere. Lando had to retire, and Max still finished ahead of Sergio Perez after getting a 10-second penalty.
Yeah, that was
a
nuts how he
puncture,
finished
and a pit
5th.
stop.
Like,
I swear, it only gets worse for Perez from here. And so it did in the British Grand Prix, where he spun out in
This was such a good
Q1.
race, though.
Also, Perez literally renewed his contract with Red Bull a month prior to all of this bullshit. I am convinced he probably had a gun pointed to Christian Horner's head.
yeah.
But the main topic of Silverstone
Not me
was
agreeing,
McLaren
yeah.
messing up their strategy, and most importantly, Lewis winning the race.
Oh, that
For
was
his
so emotional.
Final year at Mercedes, he got a win in his home. What a beauty!
Yeah.
What was not exactly as beautiful was the next 3 races after Silverstone, especially if you're a Red Bull fan. Because as we head to Hungary, Max Verstappen had a whole nervous breakdown on team radio because his car was underperforming.
I had a nervous breakdown at Hungary, but because I'm a McLaren fan, that's a whole other story.
It's unbelievable.
Well, that's some gentle introduction.
No, mate, don't give me that. Now, you guys give me this strategy, okay? I'm trying to rescue myself.
Then he had the biggest crash out, just dive bombing Lewis.
He was, like,
And the best
reliving
part about this
2021.
is that he was sim racing till 4 a.m. before the race. Max Verstappen this season officially became a part-time F1 driver, full-time sim racer.
The guy
Yeah.
next to me just wrote me privately, I'm gonna touch you.
But anyways, Oscar ended up winning his first race in Hungary. Congrats to him, but only after McLaren fucked up his strategy again, giving Lando the lead instead, which he had to give back to Oscar. And since Lando was heated for having to do that, in the cooldown room, he redirected his frustrations towards Lewis.
You had a fast car 7 years ago. 7 years ago. That's a long time. You had it. You had a quick car. You made the most of it. No, it's us.
I don't want to relive.
I'm just complimenting your car.
And this completely fueled people's hatred
Yeah,
for
the
Lando.
the
And it
Twitter
all got
download
worse
after
as
that.
time went on, as we now head to Belgium. Now, this was really just a filler race, to be honest. Lando
Yeah, it was.
fumbled his start
Stop.
again. Typical stuff. George Russell won, except he didn't because his car was too light.
Yeah, that was
He probably
crazy.
took an overly big shit that morning. Though Oscar Piastri did give us some good overtakes. Expect to hear more about him too. But now we dive to Zandvoort, the Dutch Grand Prix. In FP3, Logan Sargent crashed his Williams so hard, it made an amazing album cover. And in the race, Red Bull's pace was nowhere to be seen as Max got overtaken by Lando. So Lando won Max's home race by 22
Yeah,
seconds
that was
and then said this.
crazy. Simply lovely.
simply lovely. Huh?
Yep.
And this fueled even more hatred from the F1 community towards Lando, where people started to say
I just
that
don't get
Lando
it. People
went from one of the
can't
most likable drivers on the grid to one
just
of the
laugh
most
about things
hated.
now. Everything has to be so serious. I don't understand.
Piece of shit. What? Who do you think you are?
Oh, and after the race, Logan was replaced by Franco Colapinto. I think we can all understand why, but still, our freedom fighter will be missed. But finally, we can head to the second most eventful triple header of the season, Monza, Baku, and Singapore. And the driver
I
who
loved
stood out
Monza.
the most in these races was Oscar
yeah.
Piastri, who I'd say has the potential to be a future world champion. Despite
Wow,
only being
bold
his
statement.
second year in F1, Oscar pulled a brilliant move against Lando in Monza, essentially saying fuck your championship, and as the race went on, it just got even crazier as Oscar climbed up
It
to
did.
P2 ahead of Lando, and Ferrari decided to
I can't wait. I bought
stop
tickets to go to Monza next year. I'm
allowing
actually
Charles
so
to
excited.
win. The Tifosi fucking did it!
I cried that race as well.
That's the universe's natural pattern to balance things out for Ferrari. In Baku, Mr. Pastry pulled another brilliant drive, taking the win away from Charles. Franco Colapinto was also great, finishing in P8, essentially
Yeah.
scoring more points in that one race than Logan did in 2 years. But on the other hand,
Oh, no.
Carlos and Perez, the two drivers with
Yeah,
the
they-
juiciest asses on the grid, decided to get a taste of each other.
This one's not over yet.
Oh!
Into the wall at high speed.
You know what? This is bullshit. This is bullshit.
But now we can
Is it?
fast forward to Singapore, where everything except the race was entertaining. Before the weekend started, Daniel Ricciardo
no.
was set to be dropped by Red Bull after the race.
I'm gonna
and
cry.
during the driver's press conference, Max Verstappen said the word fuck and was fined community service hours by
That
the
is so
FIA,
ridiculous.
and the
I don't
man
understand why
was
they've done
not
that.
having it.
I went into qualifying. I knew the car was bad, right? I mean, the car was not working. The car is effed, yeah. And then excuse me for the language, but come on. Like, what are we? 5-year-olds? 6-year-olds?
Now, this enforced rule by
fair.
the FIA caused so much backlash. If you didn't know, the FIA is now penalizing swearing at press conferences, which is just a bunch of bullshit. Max was badass for speaking out, so did the
Yeah.
rest of the drivers. However, that wasn't enough to stop it. Because the person responsible for all this, and for those of you who already watch my videos know, is MBS. The worst human being to
Yeah.
ever control Formula 1 and has been ruining the sport. Firing his critiques, abusing his power, tries to be the center of attention, and destroys people's freedoms. Now, I don't even know who I'm describing
Yeah.
at this point, the FIA president or Saddam Hussein. You almost just can't tell the difference.
One thing you said about Japan, you said was controversial. No. The FIA was blamed for the points, but it was not the FIA which made the rules. It was the teams who made the rules, and we were implementing it.
So if I ever catch this man,
Did he really say that?
even
Oh my
a
god.
radius from where I'm at, I just know I'm gonna be looking at him like.
Yeah. I hate
Back
that
to
guy.
Singapore, Daniel Ricciardo was a more useful teammate to Max Verstappen than Perez, scoring the fastest lap. Though sadly, Daniel was dropped later.
Stop! Don't make me relive it.
Liam Lawson. It's really sad to see, and the man from the hit team Visa Cash App RB will be missed. But now we can head to the most entertaining triple header of the season: Austin,
Which was?
Mexico, and Brazil. The
Oh,
places
yeah.
where Max and Lando's rivalries went off. Lando was only 52 points behind Max after Singapore, which means he has to finish ahead of Max in each and every one of these races and pray the guy crashes once. But unfortunately for Lando, it isn't going to be so easy. Because Max is a driver that isn't going to go down without a fight. Or
Yeah.
a 10-car pileup. But regardless, I'm going to have to use a montage for this because so much shit happened.
The US Grand Prix is underway. Max Verstappen's going to give himself an opportunity into turn number 1, but Lando Norris.
Oh, wait, I remember this.
Great lunge that Max Verstappen was looking for.
Oh, and the Ferraris just went. Yeah.
First and second battling each other, and they open the door for the driver in the Scarlet car. Verstappen on the defensive, Lando Norris on the attack. Lando Norris goes.
Ah!
Brakes on
It makes me nervous even now, and the race has been and gone.
Lando Norris has a penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage, but Sunday is all about Charles. Charles Leclerc wins the US
wow.
Grand Prix right now.
And that was only one race.
Mexican Grand Prix, and it's a a good reaction time for Max Verstappen. He's got the inside line. He's got the momentum. He's surely going to get the lead. An immediate spin.
Oh no, there's a wheel gone.
And that will be an immediate intervention. Is he going to go for the late braking move? He is. That's the lead for Carlos Sainz. This is brave from Lando Norris trying to go around the outside. Max Verstappen barges his rival alive this time. Verstappen.
Oh! I just love the fact that it wasn't just one team that was like competing against the Red Bull this season. There were like 3 other teams going at Red Bull.
The red flag is out. The red flag is out with 46 seconds on the clock. No one would have predicted Verstappen out in Q2, but my word. The South
That was nuts.
Grand Prix is underway from the line. Good reaction time for Max Verstappen and through the spray, having a go at Lewis Hamilton. Here we go with Max Verstappen in another league right now. Wasn't even a contest. The man showing us why he's a 3-time world champion. He climbs the hill back to Grand.
Oh yeah, we had 2 Alpines on the podium. I was just looking at the grid like, that doesn't look right.
Lance Stroll finds himself off the road.
Oh no. On the formation lap, yeah.
Got himself into difficulty.
And now we can finally talk about the final 3 races of this season, which can be summed up as this. Vegas was just full of weed that drivers were getting high in their cars. Max won the championship there too, crushing Lando's dreams. Then in Qatar, Joe Guan Yu scored 4 points. The man actually did it. And during the weekend, Max and George were apparently beefing after George was pushing the
I think that might be my favorite bit of the season, Max versus George.
And the two immediately lost respect for each other. And finally, when it comes to the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi,
I loved the Abu Dhabi race.
Valtteri Bottas qualified to Q3, so did Nico. They both had amazing runs, though they both also had it really tough during the race, where it got really messy immediately in lap 1, and pretty much every driver other than Lando, Charles, and Lewis were having a bad day. So as the last race of the season, Lando won, solidifying McLaren as Constructors Champions, and Carlos and Charles both finished on the podium, where once again Ferrari is edged from a championship. You cannot make this shit up. And amidst this drama with George, Max Verstappen revealed to the world during the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix that he is expecting a child with Kelly. What a way to end the year. I mean, for everyone in general. McLaren won the Constructors, Ferrari improved so much, Alpine improved as well after getting a double podium in Brazil, and Max Verstappen, this man, schooled every driver he's rivaled with this year. Sim races like F1 is a side gig, refuses to elaborate, then announces he's expecting a child. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the 2024 season summarized to the best of my ability. This year has been insane. New constructor winners, new broken records, and a bunch of different race winners.
Yeah, I loved it.
Surprisingly, Perez being absolutely none of them. Which brings me to why I can't end this video yet, and that is because of 2 very important awards that I want to give out. Starting with the most disappointing drivers of the year, which
here we go
to both Perez and Stroll. And as predicted, it has finally been announced that Perez will be parting ways with Red Bull.
Honestly, who didn't see that coming?
Yeah. Now we can award the most goated drivers of the year, which we can obviously start with Max Verstappen. I mean, enough said. Then Nico Hülkenberg dragging his Haas tractor
that's a fair point.
so many times. Pierre Gasly causing Alpine no damage throughout the entire year. Charles and Carlos being the strong duo they are. Piastri showing how he's championship material. Fernando Alonso carrying the shit out of Aston Martin. And of course, Yuki Tsunoda, who has been feisty but great. And of course, there's a couple drivers that stand out a lot this season as well. Like our #1 MVP, Logan Sargoat, who has out-qualified Sergio Perez numerous times this season in a Williams.
What? No, I know that sounds bad.
Now I gotta say, 2024 has been quite the season than what I expected. This year has delivered a lot, which brings a lot of excitement for the future. There's a lot of uncertainty coming to the future of F1, you know, with new drivers and new seats, new opportunities. Carlos,
we've got like 5 rookies on the grid next season. He looks like he wants to retire already.
Lewis is needing a new shelf for his trophies or a new therapist. But what I do know for sure, though, is that I cannot wait to see the F1 rivalry in 15, 20, or heck, even 30 years' time between Max Verstappen Jr., Kimi Raikkonen's son Robin Raikkonen, and of course, the most dangerous of them all,
Fernando Alonso. Well, I loved that video. If you couldn't tell, I was thoroughly enjoying that. I was trying to think like what my like top 3 favorite races would be from this season, and I'd probably say my number 1 favorite race from this season is probably Australia. I absolutely loved that race. As a raging Ferrari fan, getting like a 1-2 at the beginning of the season as well. Loved it. My second favorite race, I don't actually know. Oh, I'd probably say Monza. I did like that race, especially as Charles won in Monza again for the second time. I loved it, and then that made me impulsively buy Monza tickets for next season. So I'm praying that Ferrari win in Monza next season. And I think my third favorite race is actually going to be Abu Dhabi. Like, there was so much chaos going on. I think we had about like 4 different safety cars. Plus McLaren won the constructors and Lando won the race. Those are probably my 3 favorite races from this season. And watching that, I can't believe he managed to fit that into 19 minutes. Like, there was so much going on this season. But I did really enjoy that video. So thank you to the people who requested this video. And with that being said, if you have any other videos that you'd like me to react to, drop them in the comments. I'm working my way through everybody's suggestions at the moment. If you did want to check out any of my other socials or become a Patreon member and get early access to videos like this or top priority of your suggestions, then you can do all of that down below. But I hope you enjoyed today's reaction, and I will catch you next time for the next one. Bye.